What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Vikings at 49ers. The 49ers are currently 7-point home favorites, and the game has a 44.5 point total. We'll start off with the Vikings side on a team that finally looked healthy last week. Thielen was a bit shaky to start, but he looked 100%, posted a 7 for 129 stat line, including the game winner in overtime. Didn't end the game, but it essentially sealed them the victory. He did suffer an ankle laceration in practice, but I expect him to be okay. Just also know that there's really no concrete news on the situation. All we know is he suffered an ankle laceration and he's questionable. Now, that sort of verbiage makes me think he's going to be fine, but just pay attention Friday night, Saturday morning, because honestly, there's no concrete news about how bad the ankle is. Dalvin Cook also returned last week. He had the most carries in his career in that game and was clearly the focal point on offense, even against an elite Saints run defense. He only averaged 3.3 yards per carry, but he had some really important runs, and he was able to convert on 2 touchdown runs. Last week, the matchup favored the passing attack, and they still skewed run heavy, running the ball 56% of the time. This week, they face a 49ers defense that ranks second in pass defense DVOA and first in yards per attempt through the air, while ranking 12th in rush defense DVOA and 17th in yards per carry allowed. So, given that they're also on the road again, they should definitely be leaning towards that ground game again, especially given how good the 49ers pass rush is. I mean, you consider you're on the road, so that crowd's going to be going nuts, and you've got a great pass defense, a great pass rush. They don't want to drop back and throw the ball 50 times, especially when they already prefer to run it. One thing to watch out for is injury news on the 49ers defensive players. San Fran allowed a lot of production in the back half of the season, including a pretty shocking 90% red zone touchdown efficiency allowed over their final 3 games. That's horrible. Fortunately for them, a lot of that was due to injuries, and basically their entire defense got hurt, and you're going to have some holes when that happens. This week, they're expecting Jaquiski Tart, Quan Alexander, D. Ford, Mike Pearson, who's an offensive lineman, but whatever, I'll throw him in there, and Contavious Street all back. Now, they don't all have the same impact. They're not all guaranteed to be back, and there's no way they're all 100%. But my point is, they're getting healthier. So at the bare minimum, they're going to be better than they were in the second half of the season. That's definitely a downgrade for the Vikings. On the 49ers side, this is an offense that would like to lean towards the run as well. They ranked second behind only Baltimore in rush attempts per game, so that should speak to how many times they ran it. And even considering the fact that they've also suffered a lot of injuries to running backs this season. You know, when we see teams get like their first, second, third running backs all go down at different points, there will be games where they lean pass heavy. Not the 49ers. When they had multiple injuries at running backs, they stayed run heavy. All of Coleman, Breida, Mostert should be 100% now, though Mostert dominated down the stretch, so he should be the lead back. I'd imagine they lean on him and on Breida as the top 2 options, but we'll see, because it's been pretty difficult to project how they're going to have the running back split this season. In the receiving game, Kittle has a tough matchup from a scoring perspective, but he's still George Kittle, and he'll still be heavily involved no matter what, and he has the talent to win in any matchup. So even in a matchup that's pretty difficult for tight ends, listen, it's George Kittle. The combination of Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel has also been great. Sanders has shown a massive ceiling when the 49ers need him to produce, while Deebo has been really electric every time they've gotten the ball into his hands. On defense, the Vikings do rank top 10 in nearly every pass defense and rush defense metric. while boasting a top 10 pass rush, ranking first in tackling and second in red zone touchdown efficiency allowed. This is an elite defense. So even though the 49ers ranked second in points per game this season, they've had more time to prepare and they're at home. They are not a lock to go off in this game. In fact, there's a chance that this ends up being one of the lower scoring games on the week. Not only do both have great defenses, but both teams rank second and third in rush attempts per game while throwing the ball the third and fourth fewest times in the league. So, and that's per game. So as long as one team doesn't jump out to like a 10, 13, 14 point lead really early on, both should lean on the run and try and take care of the football, which could lead to fewer plays overall and a lower scoring game. So what do I think is going to happen? Ultimately, these teams are pretty evenly matched. Both have great defenses, both have great rushing attacks and the ability to air it out. At the end of the day, I think the 49ers have a few more pieces on offense. They scored fewer than 24 points just 3 times all year, and there's no one you can look to just take away, which is what makes them so dangerous. If they find a way to stop the rushing attack, which is not an easy thing to do, then you've got Kittle and Sanders and Samuel are going to carve you up. But if you find a way to stop all of them in the air attack, well, now their ground game is likely to find holes. So this team averaged 32.4 points per game this season, and you can be sure Shanahan has saved some of his best plays for the playoffs. So I like the 49ers to win this one. I'm predicting a final score of 27-17, especially if all of the injured 49ers end up being active. So that'll do it for my breakdown of this game. You can find the rest of my playoff videos on this channel or the Fantasy Football Advice channel. But that's the end of this one. I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, how about hitting that like button? And if you're new here, how about subscribing to the channel? Thanks for watching.